Welcome back to My Time to Fly. Today we had the incredible opportunity to get up close and personal with a recently completed Sling TSi, belonging to an amazing member of the Michigan aviation community. A huge thank you to Chris for sharing your beautiful airplane with me today. Stay tuned as we walk through some details of the plane and the building process, followed by a flight in this extremely capable experimental airplane. I'm so grateful you're here. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe below to see more content as we explore the fun-filled world of general aviation.
We're here with Chris at Sparta in the hangar where a lot of airplanes are built. Behind us is Chris's most recent build or your first build?
My first build, yeah.
So this is Chris's first build. Chris, could you just tell us a little bit about what the plane is?
Sure, it is a Sling TSi. It's a South African design. It's four-place. They've been around for quite a while, even though they aren't super well known in the United States. I think they're 600 flying, but most of them two-seaters. And then they made a Sling 4, which is a four-passenger, and had 100 horsepower Rotax 914 that was carbureted. Then what flipped my switch to go ahead and decide I was going to build is this TSi has some speed enhancements, which mostly run around the motor. It's a 915 IS. So it's completely computer controlled, no more carburetors. It's like, you know, your wife's brand new cars, totally FADEC controlled. I mean, basically you just push the throttle, you go faster, and pull it back, go slower, diagnoses itself. It's absolutely fantastic.
Now, does it have a adjustable pitch, like a constant speed prop?
It's a constant speed prop, yep, and I want to show it to you when we get done. The coolest feature is it'll feather. So I haven't tested it yet. I almost did it today because I flew a little bit earlier. If the motor quits, you can feather the prop, and I think the glide ratio could be 16, 17 to 1.
Now, is it like a normal, like my Mooney has a constant speed prop that I adjust, or is it all integrated? You have one power lever?
No, I have one power lever, but we'll see when we look in the panel, the prop controller has a takeoff, climb, cruise, and then manual setting. And I set those up with my laptop right here. I plug it in and basically set, so climb is 5,800 RPM. The Rotax, I know, that's a surprise.
That just shocked me.
I know.
5,800 RPM.
But it's the first new engine that's been designed in 120 years for aircraft. It's the only new design because it has a gear reduction box. It's a 2.3 to 1 or something like that gear reduction. When the engine's spinning 5,800, the prop's spinning like 2,150. And then in climb, it's 5,500. And then in cruise, it's 5,350, so I'll run all day long there. It's approved for 141 horsepower for 5 minutes for takeoff, and then 135 horsepower continuously after that. It goes lean a peak and runs the most efficiently in eco mode at about 78% power, where most aircraft engines like to run, and that's at 7.8 gallons an hour and about 109 horsepower. And it will go 155 knots at 15,000 feet and like 146 at 10,000 feet. So it's real efficient. And
but you have to be cognizant of the power a little bit, right? Because it is turbocharged, so it will make 100% power all the time.
It will. Yep, it will. All the way to 15,000 feet. They've had these to 30,000 feet before. The cool thing about it is the only thing you have to do. The reason I built it is I'm 63. I've been flying for 40 years. I've owned 18 airplanes. I own 3 of them right now, a Mooney and an Aviat Husky on amphib floats, and then this I just built. This will replace the Mooney. So that's how we met. Corey and I met.
Mooney guys.
Yeah, I'm a Mooney guy. I got a garage full. I've had 4 Moonies over 40 years, and so I still think they're awesome airplanes. But the reason I picked this is closest to a Mooney in efficiency and that kind of stuff. But it's a great airplane. It's easy to build too. I am a very technical guy, but I've never built an airplane before, and I kind of know my limitations. So this hangar is full of a bunch of fantastic. I wouldn't have built this airplane if I wasn't really good friends with Gordon Gilchrist, who owns this hangar, who's built 4 Carbon Cubs, and Dave Duperrin, who built a world-class award-winning RV-10. These guys helped mentor me through it and gave me the confidence to build an airplane myself.
Now, is that all part of the EAA and Peachridge Air Force, as we call it here at Sparta?
Yep.
And you're a big proponent of that.
Yeah, they're really great guys. Like Dave DeParron gave me a whole bunch of tools that have so much experience they almost did it themselves. and that was his gift to me to start. This is an easy build though. The most common airplanes are RVs. Van Grunsven, there's a million of them around. This has pulled rivets. So I don't
Instead of bucked rivets.
Instead of bucked rivets. Bucked rivets means I would have to have you as my buddy. I'd have to feed you a lot of beer to come spend 4 hours with me on a Saturday bucking rivets, or ask my wife to. I built the whole thing myself, except for Gordy helped me hang the motor for an hour. But there's a couple people I want to thank. I paid Midwest Sky Sports to build this build us up to quick build status, which means part of the wings are built and part of the fuselage. Henry Rise and his gang over there are absolutely spectacular. Then they've mentored me through the questions I had, and then Midwest panel builders built my instrument panel. I worked with them on the design, but they built the wiring harness and the instrument panel. So the cool thing about building an airplane is you can, as long as you meet the 51% rule, which means 51% of this airplane I built, actually 67% I did, because in order to qualify for the FAA, you have to fill out a whole bunch of questionnaires, and they kind of they evaluate. And one other person I want to thank, his name is Evan Brunier. He's another guy that's building a Sling at the same time that I am. And him and I have gotten to be spectacular friends, and he's helped me a lot, and I've helped him a lot. So the community is really small, and we're having a lot of fun with it. But because it's a pulled rivet airplane, I could do almost all of it myself without a lot of external help. And I reconfigured my house, so I built it all at home.
Oh wow!
And so that so the wife wasn't upset that I was like gone all the time.
So I'm familiar with blind rivets, like with a pneumatic rivet gun. I do some auto racing, and we use rivets to hold the race car together.
Yeah.
How are these rivets actually attached? Like, what's the process of putting a rivet in?
They're blind rivets, kind of like that.
Okay.
They're basically, you've got a hole. The kit comes all manufactured with the holes that all line up. You just sink the rivet in there and pull it.
Pull the trigger.
Yep, pull the trigger. I've got an electric Milwaukee gun that I use, and so I built it all at home, and then I painted it here. I helped Gordy kind of design and configure this paint booth here. So built it all, painted it in there in pieces, and then assembled the wings and all that kind of stuff.
I was curious. I was in the FBO the other day, and I just saw you go by, and I thought, wow, that thing is stunning. I mean, it's beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
But I was curious if you had to decide from paint or vinyl. I know vinyl is an option in the experimental world, and there's actually a plane here that
there's an RV7 that's a vinyl wrap. It's
Yeah.
a friend of mine that I ride dirt bikes with and stuff. He's 2 hangars down. His looks great vinyl wrap. The cool thing about vinyl is you can take it off and put it back on and change it. Next year you want it to look different. But I painted it with Sherman-Williams aircraft paint. It's Sherman-Williams Acroglow, so it's real durable and stuff. It was expensive, but it's an airplane and I didn't want to put auto fuel on it.
And you were confident it was going to stay in this configuration?
I plagiarized this from a light sport design, and then use some of mine. That's what a lot of people do in the experimental world. They'll walk around Oshkosh for days taking pictures and say, I like the way the tail looks there.
Okay.
And so I kind of incorporated the tail with some of the other stuff, and I wanted a couple, 2, 3 different colors, but it's a base coat only. It's not a base coat, clear coat, even though it looks pretty shiny. So it turned out pretty well.
Oshkosh, the Pinterest for us aviation folks.
Exactly. Oshkosh is, last year is the first year in 28 years I didn't go and camp under the wing with my brother. Yeah, so it's...
well, hopefully this year, right?
Yeah, hopefully I'll see you there. And
absolutely. In a beat up Mooney.
Yeah.
So I guess one other question, I'm just curious, this is probably my own curiosity. There's a lot of materials out there in the world. There's the Sling, which is aluminum riveted together. There's certainly composite airplanes, composite builds. And now I know one of the planes that's under construction and starting to be developed is the Dark Arrow, which is all carbon fiber, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah, that's fun to watch. Yeah.
Was the material? Did it have any impact on your decision?
It did because I've been trying to figure out what to build for a long time. I wanted to build a Glass Air 2RG way back when composites first came out. Rutan invented composites.
Yep.
Rutan kind of did, and then Glass Air, Stoddard Aviation came out with a great airplane. The problem with that is it smells. You get if the fun thing about going to Oshkosh is they have all these little seminar tents, and so you can go do some composite work and get it all over you, and then you can go do metal work and and then you can do fabric work, and you can weld tubes and stuff like that. Like this Carbon Cub's like a welded tube airplane, and so I decided at home, I like this medium. It's real easy to work with, and the business I'm in, we do a lot of metal work and stuff like that. So I was a little more familiar, and felt I'd be a little more. I always worry about the composite thing. You're never really sure how much strength you're going to get between, and how many layups you have and stuff like that. Whereas if it's aluminum and they tested it that way, it's probably okay.
So what was, I guess, for you the most challenging part of this build? And then, at the end of the day, besides taking it for your first flight, what was the thing that you said, wow, that was so rewarding, I did that?
Yeah, I think actually the most rewarding, I'll go to that first, was building the tail. The kit manufacturers, I think you'll probably find this interesting. They always ship you the tail because it's the easiest thing to build. So that you're not like worried about some really super difficult part. It's really rewarding, and the instructions are really good. And so I'd build like the horizontal stabilizer, and then I'd carry it upstairs and show my wife in the living room, and she'd be like, "Get that out of here!" But I'd be so proud of it. Yeah. So that was the most rewarding thing. Because you're looking at it and you're going, wow, there's an airplane part, and I built it. It came in a box with nothing, and left looking like something. And then the most challenging thing, I think, was probably wiring and stuff like that. Even though I had somebody else do the wiring harness, this Garmin stuff is spectacular. But there's some plugs that have like 89 pins in them, and so it gets pretty daunting, and you're worried about some of that stuff. But you just kind of. I think maybe the other thing that's challenging is you kind of got to eat this like an elephant, a little bite at a time. I'm a kind of a completion guy, and I wanted to try to teach myself to not run to the finish line and enjoy the ride. Yeah. And so for me, I had to kind of learn how to just enjoy the ride, take my time, look forward to doing this instead of rushing to completion on everything. Plus, my butt was going to be in this, and my family's going to be in it, so I didn't, it needs to be built right. So I had to change my mindset. So that was challenging. Yeah,
absolutely. I can totally understand that. There comes a point when you just want it to be done.
Yeah, and you can't wait to fly. Because I'm one of the weirdos that bought this without ever flying it.
Oh yeah.
Because maybe it's because I'm an engineer, but the specs, the specifications were right for me. It lifts 1,000 pounds. It cruises on auto fuel. It runs on 91 octane auto fuel. I built a little trailer with a tank so that I can go and get 90 gallons of it and bring it over.
No avgas at all.
You can run avgas, but they don't recommend it for this engine. If I run avgas, I got to change oil every 25 hours. If I run auto fuel, I can go 50 because the lead deposits mess up the gearbox. And
you don't make more power on avgas.
No more power.
It just FADEC just wouldn't let it happen.
Correct. Yeah, wouldn't let it happen. It still makes the same boost and all that kind of stuff.
Interesting.
The prop will take like 14 to 16 seconds to fully feather. So if the engine quits, you put the prop into full feather mode, and you can kind of see from the front, aerodynamically, the airplane will improve the drag tremendously.
So we're going to talk through how the plane starts.
Yep, how the plane starts, because it's a new modern airplane. So we're going to put our EFIS backup on first. Electronic Flight Information System backup. We've got to be able to start this. So there's 2 lithium-ion batteries in it. One that runs the Electronic Flight Information System, and then another one that runs the engine management system backup. Because we got to be able to prove that we've got oil pressure when it goes to start. So we turn, these were already on, we turn A and B lanes on, master switches on, turn one fuel pump on, and then we push this so that we can watch to make sure that the fuel pressure comes up and the oil pressure. So here we go. And we advance the throttle a little bit. There, we're running. And we've got oil pressure coming up, fuel pressure coming up. So now we'll switch on the rest of the stuff, the avionics and the landing lights, strobes, and the intercom starting to come on. You'll probably hear that.
So did it take some time for you to get used to the different engine speeds?
No. In fact, you'll kind of notice that it's really not that noticeable.
Okay.
The difference. It's kind of, we're doing 2,500 RPM right now.
How many hours do you think you have in it now?
I have 84 hours.
Oh wow, that's quick.
Yeah, I've been flying it a lot.
Do you feel like as those 85 hours have accrued, of course you mentioned the brakes have had a little bit of a problem to tweak with, and
yep.
Has there been a lot of other little things that just kind of creeped up on you?
Yep, and it's all normal. Look at this, it tells you our density altitude is minus 200 feet. I mean, there's so much information here and all this Garmin stuff. It's just fantastic. But yeah, there have been, but that's all part of like checking an air. I think even if you bought a brand new Mooney built, the test pilot would be messing with all that kind of stuff.
Sure. Hey, we talked a little bit through the prop on the ground,
yep.
Which we're still on the ground, but that's the prop control, and then then you can adjust.
Yep, this is
independently.
It's a takeoff, and then that's climb and cruise and hold, and you can put it manual and adjust it. In fact, I'll show you what we do on the run up.
Okay.
Because we check to make sure that it's running. It's running properly.
Now this is a mimicked engine gauge, so I can just look here.
Yep, that's your mimicked engine gauge. So we're gonna run it up to 3,000 RPM. We're gonna check the prop, make sure we put it in manual, and make sure it works. There we go. Props, the engine speed's moving around.
But because it's electric, you don't have to do it multiple times probably.
No,
because
you don't have to get any oil in it.
Yeah, nope. You don't need oil. That's awesome.
Nope. And then now we're going to check lane A. We turn lane A off. So we're on one computer now. It's running on lane B. It's going to fail a few instruments. And then we turn it back on, and we wait for this lane A light to go off in 5 seconds after it does all of its diagnostics. Bingo. And then we do the same thing for lane B.
How different is that from Mag 1 or Mag 2?
It's similar. It's computer 1 and computer 2. There's two computers, so it's got a backup. Yep. And then we're going to check fuel pumps. So we're running on 1 now. Now we're running on 2, so we prove that both pumps are working. We leave them on both for takeoff. That's on takeoff, and then we put the flaps halfway down for takeoff also. See, there's traffic. Look at the traffic going across the screen. That's that guy, and then this guy.
Now, you mentioned the pumps. Is that 2 electric fuel pumps?
2 electric fuel pumps.
No mechanical pump.
No mechanical pump. So both of them, at least one of them has to be running.
And is there a traditional magneto in the plane?
No.
It's all electric?
All electronic, yeah. Okay, what we're going to do now is we're getting ready to take off. We're all configured. All we have to do is props and take off. Both fuel pumps are on. Flaps are on half. You need to be watching fuel flow. We should have 11 gallons an hour and nice temperatures in each hole. And you'll notice since the engine's computer controlled, you don't have to gingerly mess around with the throttle. I'm just going to take the throttle and just go. And then you watch the boost come up. Boost is at 38, 39, 40 inches.
Wow.
Here comes the speed. Yeah, our brakes are sticking. But we'll still get in the air fine.
Rotate about
65. Here's 65.
We're also a little heavy.
Yep. Then up comes the flaps. And we'll climb out at about 90. There's 90. We'll get out of the sun.
Now I'm seeing an interesting gauge here that I don't see in my plane is coolant. Is it a liquid cooled engine?
Liquid cooled engine, yep.
I had no clue.
Yep.
That's amazing. What do you think the advantage of liquid cooled is?
You'll notice the temperatures don't change at all. Oil temperature's 154, coolant's 193. I can climb all the way to 15,000 feet. The temperatures will stay right there. I went today up to 10,000 and pulled the power all the way back to flight idle, and the temperature stayed within 10 degrees.
Oh, wow.
So now all we do, now that we're out of the runway environment, I switch the prop to climb, and the throttle stays there. I'll switch off one fuel pump.
Just to save the life of the pump.
Yep, save the life of the pump. Yep, exactly. And so now we're in climb mode. Now we're burning 10.9 gallons an hour and still climbing out at close to 1,000 feet a minute at full gross.
Wow, that's amazing. Especially such a short wing. I mean, what does the plane weigh empty?
Empty it weighs, this one weighed 1,061 pounds.
They're all a little different based on decisions you make.
Correct, yep, and what you put in and all that kind of stuff.
Wow, it's really fantastic. So in the Mooney, I'm 100 downwind, 90 base, 80 final, 75 over the numbers, something like that. Is that similar here?
Yep, it is. I'll fly the whole traffic pattern at 85.
Okay.
Pretty much.
It'll fly pretty stable at 85.
Yeah, yep.
And you said that's flap speed.
Yeah.
So that lets you get flaps in it whenever you want.
Yep, exactly. We're climbing up to 1,800 feet. There's our 1,800 feet. All right, fuel pump's on, prop set for takeoff, landing lights are on. There's some traffic in front of us, see? Wonder where he is.
Right there.
Oh yeah, there he
Cross
is.
him.
Yep, got him. Advanced.
It's like 9173, maybe.
Yep.
So it could be a picture plane too, really. I mean, nothing's stopping you from doing some sightseeing in it.
No, it's got. I like the glass and the visibility out of it. And you're a big guy. You're almost touching the ceiling.
Am I? I don't feel cramped at all.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I'm 6'1". I mean, I'm not overly big.
Flaps are coming out.
Just one flap move, full flaps.
Yep, just click it. Yep, I got it set up that way so I don't have to mess around with it.
You could set it up differently.
I could set it up differently, yeah, but I like...
Across the threshold.
Yep, there we go. Yep, you can see the other guy up there, that little diamond.
Oh yeah,
traffic is really good.
Oh man, sweet.
Not bad.
Not bad. You got to give yourself a little credit there.
All right. Pretty good.
Do you can you draw a parallel to landing a Mooney versus it?
Very similar because it's got a real slippery wing and it likes the hover and ground effect. It's heavily loaded now.
So that helped,
yeah, we kind of mushed, like in your Mooney, if it's heavily loaded, it'll smash through ground effect a little quicker.
Yep, for sure.
Thanks again for being here as we explored this beautiful Sling TSi. Make sure you subscribe and stay tuned as we explore more general aviation airplanes. And of course, log some more hours in the Mooney.